Hello everybody. Today's topic is about cell injury from the general path subject. Normally the cell injury means when a cell is under stress, that is because of some etiological agents, it undergo continuous stimulus which will create some stress inside the cell, which lead to change its function as well as its morphology. Once we will read the definition of the cell injury. Cell injury is defined as this functional and the morphological effects of variety of stresses due to etiological agents a cell encounters, resulting in changes in its internal and the external environment. When the cell is under stress because of some etiological factors which creates stimulus, and because of that stimulus they create some stress inside the cell which lead to change its shape and its function. That means the cell won't function properly as a normal cell. Okay, now it's all about the etiological agents which causes a cell injury. The main and the most common cause for the cell injury is the hypoxia. It results due to decrease in the oxygen supply to the cell. The hypoxia may be caused by three reasons. First one is the ischemia, anemia and the cardiorespiratory diseases. What is meant by ischemia is nothing but there will be the interruption in the blood flow. In the same way, there are some physical agents which causes the cell injury are, first one is the radiation, pressure, burns, and the chemical agents are like drugs, poisons. Infections are like bacterial infection, viral infection, fungal infection and the parasital infection, hypersensitivity reaction, and there are some genetic reasons which may also lead for the cell injury. This all, and there will be one more, that is nutritional imbalance. If there is any nutritional deficiency like minerals and the vitamins, it may also lead to the cell injury. Response to the injury, a cell can have following consequences. First one is the adaptation. Second one is the reversible injury and the irreversible injury. In the adaptation, what the cell do is, initially the cell adapts to the change due to the injurious effect, and it may revert back to its normal if the stimulus is removed. Okay, if the stimulus is removed, the cell will revert back to its normal position and normal function. In reversible, if the stress is mild to moderate, it will be reversible. If the stress is severe and it is persistent for a longer duration, then it will be irreversible. For shorter duration, it will be reversible, like it can come back to its original position, function and all. If it is for a longer duration, it cannot be reversible. So the cell will be completely damaged in the irreversible part. Okay, now we will study in detail about the hypoxia. What happens in hypoxia? I already informed you that there are three reasons which may lead to hypoxia. First one is the ischemia, anemia and the cardiorespiratory diseases, right? In that we are taking ischemia as a reason for the hypoxia. What happens in the ischemia? What is mean by ischemia? It is nothing but there is a blood flow interruption, right? If there is a interruption in the blood flow, the oxygen supply to the cell is reduced, right? The oxygen required for the cell, why it is required for the cell? For the production of ATP. Who are going to produce ATP? Mitochondria. Yes. Now for the production of ATP, mitochondria requires oxygen so that it can undergo aerobic condition and produce ATP. If there is oxygen, if now we already studied about that, in ischemia oxygen content is less. That means mitochondria cannot undergo aerobic condition to produce ATP, so it don't have oxygen. Now the cell what does is, now cell will undergo an aerobic process to produce ATP. For the production of ATP, the cell will undergo anaerobic. Then because of that process, there will be the large amount of production of lactic acid. Acid is nothing but there will be reduced in the pH, which leads to clumping of nuclear chromatin material. We know that firstly the mitochondria is involved in the cell injury, right? Secondly, there will be the cell membrane damage is seen. In a normal cell, what happens is it consisting of two pumps, that is sodium potassium pump and the calcium pump. In the sodium potassium pump, when this sodium potassium pump is active, the sodium comes out and the potassium will enter. Even in the calcium will move out. So what happens if the cell membrane is damaged? What happens in these two pumps is, first thing is, there will be continuous influx of sodium into the cell, continuous influx, which leads to cellular swelling. Along with that, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, they gonna swell. Because of this swelling, the Golgi apparatus or endoplasmic reticulum, they contain some ribosomes which are attached to it, right? So these ribosomes will detach from the endoplasmic reticulum, which lead to decrease in the protein synthesis even. Because these ribosomes which are detached from the endoplasmic reticulum won't function properly. So these all things will happen if the sodium potassium pump is not working properly. If we want this pump to work properly, it requires ATP. So the next one is the calcium pump. What happens in the calcium pump? There will be the continuous influx of calcium even. So calcium will deposit inside the cell. Okay, this is phospholipid layer. Okay, there will be the continuous influx of calcium, which leads to calcium deposit inside the cell. Now we can see bleps inside the cell. They are made up of calcium because the calcium influx is more into the cell. Now these, normally what happens is, these calciums which are inside the cell will be taken by the mitochondria. Here just see, this is mitochondria. Now this mitochondria will take some calcium particles. These are also seen as a bleps inside the mitochondria. These all are changes which we see in the reversible cell injury. Okay, if it is continuous like this for a longer duration, it may leads to irreversible damage. In the irreversible damage, even if you supply blood or oxygen, the cell won't be reversed back, or it won't be revert back to its normal condition. Even it will damage more. How? If compare that this is a cell which is undergone stimulus for a longer duration. Now it is irreversibly damaged. If you supply blood again, so if you supply blood, what happens is this cell will accept more calcium into it because now it is completely damaged. The calcium pump is also affected, so it won't think that calcium is more inside me, so I should send back. No, but instead of that, it will accept more amount of calcium. What happens is again the cytoplasmic calcium is increased here, right? Calcium is increased. Now this calcium will enter into the mitochondria and forms vacuole-like structures. Here we see the blebs, right? These blebs are seen in the reversible part, but we can see vacuoles here. Vacuoles. These vacuoles are nothing but the calcium deposits. Okay, these are phospholipid rich amorphous densities. These are calcium deposit which appears like vacuoles. It is mainly because of the reperfusion and the reoxygenation. In the irreversible damage, when the cell is not ready to work properly, if you even supply blood, it will accept more amount of calcium, and which lead to form a vacuoles inside the mitochondria. These are the features seen in the irreversible type. Okay, now we will see that because of increase in the cytoplasmic calcium level, there will be increase in the phospholipase enzyme and the ATPase enzyme. Phospholipase, that is nothing but the cell wall is made up of phospholipids. To break that phospholipid substance, it requires phospholipase. So in the irreversible process, because of continuous increase in the calcium inside the cell, there will be the increase in the phospholipase enzyme. This phospholipase is going to damage the cell wall, which lead to increase in the it increase the transparency, or it will the permeability of the cell is increased more. The cell membrane is damaged. If the cell membrane is damaged, there are some particles which come out from the cell membrane. These particles are seen outside the cell. They are called as myelin bodies. These myelin bodies are made up of phospholipids. Okay, now then there are some enzymes even other than these two. There are some enzymes which are activated. First one is the protease enzyme. Protease enzyme, normally the cell membrane is supported with the help of cytoskeleton. These cytoskeletons are made up of microtubules, microfilaments and the intermediate filaments. Because of this protease enzyme, there will be the breakdown of these cytoskeletal structures. These structures will appear like this. I will show you. If this is a structure, it appears like a web. These structures are damaged with the help of protease, which is mostly seen in the irreversible. Just remember that in the irreversible form of cell injury, we will see the enzymes which are secreted out. Okay, these enzymes are activated in the irreversible type of cell injury. In the reversible type, we didn't see anything like this, right? Any enzyme which is activated, but in irreversible type, we will see about the enzymes. Now in the endonuclease enzyme, what the endonuclease? It is nothing but it is related to the nuclear part. It related to the DNA part, right? This endonuclease will damage the nuclear part. It can damage in the three ways. That is, first one is the pycnosis, karyohexis, karyolysis. Okay. Pycnosis is nothing but the chromatin material will condense in such a way it will appear like a pinpoint structure. So, normally in pycnosis, what it will be is the chromatin structure will appear. Normal, the nucleus should be in this much size, for example, but it will appear like this, small nucleus. In karyohexis, this nucleus will undergo fragmentation. In pycnosis, nucleus is condensed to a small pinpoint structure. Whereas in the karyohexis, there will be the nuclear fragment is seen. Normal nucleus, it appears like this, but in karyohexis, it will appear like this. So many parts of nucleus are seen. In karyolysis, What happens in the karyolysis is the dissolution, complete lysis. We can't even see the this part is from the nucleus, this part is from nucleus. Complete dissolution of the nucleus is seen in this. Next, one more enzyme is activated here. It is lysosomal hydrolytic enzyme. What happens here is this lysosomal enzyme, we already know that the cell contains lysosome bodies, organelles, right? Cell contains different organelles, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi, nucleus, lysosomes. These lysosomes are also called as suicidal cells, right? So these lysosomes will contain some enzyme, that is lysosomal hydrolytic enzyme inside them. What happens is, if there is a cell, if cell is undergoing irreversible damage, this cell will leak, this lysosomal cell will leak the lysosomal hydrolytic enzyme, which what it does is it will eat its own organelles. Like this cell contains mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, right? Nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum. These lysosomal enzyme, which is secreted from the lysosomal bodies, will engulf these all organelles. Till now we studied what all the differences are seen in the reversible and the irreversible type of cell injury. Now I tried to bring them all in one table. Once we will see about this. So in reversible type, what happens in the mitochondria? Yes, mitochondria, what happens? There will be the amorphous phospholipids, amorphous densities are seen in the mitochondria, right? Because the cytoplasmic calcium level is increased. In the same way, in the irreversible part, we can see the calcium deposits in the mitochondria. These are vacuoles. These are amorphous densities. And the mitochondria, they both are swelling is seen in these two types of in these two mitochondria. And we already learned that cellular swelling is seen in the reversible type of cell injury, and along with that the endoplasma reticulum, Golgi apparatus, mitochondria, they all will undergo swelling. Because of that swelling, there will be the ribosome detached from this. This endoplasmic reticulum feature is seen both in the reversible as well as irreversible type of cell injury. And the cell swelling is seen in the reversible type of cell injury, but cell membrane damage because of phospholipase enzyme, right? These phospholipase enzyme are going to damage the phospholipids which are present in the cell membrane, and these damaged parts are seen outside the cell. They are called as myelin bodies. Yes, they all are seen in the reversible types. Okay, cellular swelling is in the reversible, and in the irreversible part we will see the myelin bodies. What happens in the cytoskeleton is, in cytoskeleton in reversible they are aggregate, they are together, but in the irreversible they are dispersed because of protease enzyme. Here it is phospholipase enzyme, and here is the protease enzyme. Protease enzyme which will break the connection between them. So they are irregularly or dispersed in the cytoplasm. Right? Now we will see about the nucleus. What happens in the nucleus in the reversible type is nuclear clumpings are seen, right? The nuclear chromatin materials will come together. I also said the reason for this is decrease in the pH, which is because of lactic acid, anaerobic process and all. Yes, in the reversible process, the nucleus can damage in three forms. First one is the pycnosis. It is nothing but the pinpoint nucleus. Complete the chromatin material is clumped in such a way that there will be the pinpoint nucleus is seen. And in the karyohexis, there will be the fragmentation of the nucleus, right? It appears like this. In karyolysis, lysis is nothing but complete breakdown. That is, there are small tiny fragments of nucleus as seen. These all are the differences seen in the reversible and the irreversible type of cell injury. And if you want any referral, you can see the Harsh Mohan textbook, 30 page number. It is clear cut, so you will understand better, I guess. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Thank you.